We're talking to Department of Justice spokesperson, Attorney Polo Martinez. Welcome back to the Storycon, Attorney Martinez.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Nice to see you
Hi,
all.
attorney.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Well, I guess, first of all, we're talking to you about all things related to the flood control investigation. But the first thing I wanted to ask you about is these two names that have cropped up in relation to the flood control scam. Carlito Macadangdang and Jonathan So. Allegedly, they're connected to one of the flood control contractors that President Marcos named. What have you found out about them?
We know that out of these two people, so they're very popular names being brought up today. Jonathan Saw is a respondent in one of the cases pending before the DOJ. As of February 2, that specific case has already been submitted for resolution. So we can expect that the panel of prosecutors in charge of deciding that case will release the resolution pretty soon. As for the other individual related to Mr. So, Carlos Macadangdang, currently there is no complaint lodged against him in the DOJ. No complaint where he is made a respondent. So as regards to him, his participation, insofar as the DOJ is concerned, is currently out of the records, out of our competence to comment on, at least for now. No?
So that's, which one is that? That's Carlito Macadangdang.
That's right, yeah.
So wala pang
is
charges
respondent in one of the cases.
Hindi pa siya respondent at this point, but are you looking into his ties with Jonathan Saw and, to the larger picture of the flood control investigation?
Well, that's something that I cannot really comment on, as that case is specifically designated to a specific panel of prosecutors. So there are three of them. So until they've actually released the resolution on the matter, I can't really say. We're not in any position to actually talk about what may have perhaps the evidence revealed with respect to their participation.
Okay, fair enough. But Jonathan Saw was a respondent already. What were the charges? And what was the case about? Which particular case was this?
So he's a respondent in one of the flood control cases concerning either of two contractors, that's Wow Construction or Top Notch Catalyst Builders. The charges are, well, there are many. The primary charge, so to speak, would be malversation through falsification by a public officer. So related charges would be corruption of public official, direct bribery, indirect bribery, as well as a violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Hold on, are you saying that he's also connected to Wow Builders Construction?
Well, I'm not saying that he's related to the contractors. I'm just saying that, he's a respondent. Respondent din siya dun sa case involving these two contractors, either of these two contractors.
Attorney, mga corruption cases siya, paano yung hatian niyo ng Division of Labor ninyo, ng Office of the Ombudsman? Are you coordinating? After all, the Ombudsman is your former secretary, no? Meron bang Division of Labor yan? Especially now na nag-wrap up na yung ICI ng work nila, and I understand they transmitted a report to Malacanang and as well, the Ombudsman and the DOJ.
Opo, so irrespective of who is the sitting ombudsman naman po, there is an existing memorandum of agreement between the DOJ and the ombudsman with respect to cases related sa flood control. In fact, alam po natin is that since a number of these cases pertain to individuals or public officials na ang salary grade are 27 or higher, then generally they're under the jurisdiction of the ombudsman. Marami pong kaso hawak namin dito. We actually conducted the investigation because of the deputization by the ombudsman. So for the DOJ. So yung mga kaso po actually imbestigahan namin ngayon. These were started by the NBI DOJ Task Force on Flood Control Anomalies. Then they were referred to the ombudsman for their own investigation, referred back to us for the conduct of our preliminary investigation. Tapos binalik po ulit sa kanila for their own assessment of whether or not they should be filed with the Sandigan Bayan. So meron pong yan. There's always been a coordination.
So yung final decision kung i-file in court, Ombudsman, if it's a corruption case?
If it's a Sandigan Bayan case, meaning that the officials concerned fall within the jurisdiction po of the Sandigan Bayan. So, on the converse, sabihin po natin, we also have a number of cases where there are no officials with a salary grade of 27 or above involved. Sabihin natin na DPWH officials only, engineers, below that salary grade. So yung mga yun po, hindi na kailangan na i-refer to the ombudsman because their filing is not with the Sandigan Bayan Court, but with RTC. So, depending
okay.
jurisdiction.
Sir, the Blue Ribbon Committee is expected anytime soon to recommend filing of charges against these sitting senators. Of course, whether it will push through with that, we have to wait and see.
Hinihintay natin ngayon.
Pero as far as at least the Blue Ribbon Committee chairman is concerned, that should be good to go already. I'm wondering from your end kung ano na preparations po ninyo as far as the three senators are concerned.
Opo. So, well, as far as the DOJ is concerned, dito po sa sinasabing draft committee report by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, well, we've actually yet to see it. Once we've seen it, then as the Prosecutor General Fadulyon has mentioned before, again, everything kasi that's submitted to us will have to be vetted by the proper investigative body. So, the NBI, for instance, is an agency, an attached agency of the DOJ. So when they do file the complaint with us containing evidence that the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee had referred to the proper investigative agency, that being them, then only then can we proceed with our preliminary investigation. Kailangan may criminal complaint po na sisimulan, not from us, because of course the DOJ cannot file the criminal complaint with our own department. So it has to be coursed through the proper investigative agency.
Pero sir, I understand that there are already some cases submitted for resolution, like for example, the case of Joel Villanueva. I'm quoting here si Ping Lacson. Villanueva's cases were submitted for resolution with the DOJ. So I'm just wondering lang kung anong status ng mga ito. I suppose at the very least, nasa DOJ NBI task force level pa lang siya at inakit pa lang o nakit na sa prosecutors. Can you give us an update there?
Opo. So with respect to Senator Joel Villanueva, tama kayo sir, tama kayo that particular case, actually hindi lang po isa yun, tatlo po yun. So there are 3 cases wherein Senator Joel Villanueva is involved. And these 3 cases are part of the same batch of cases involving, like I said earlier, either of 2 contractors, Wawaw Construction or Top Notch Catalyst Builders. So ano po yan? And these are 6 cases in total. So 3 out of the 6 cases, Senator Joel Villanueva is a respondent, and you're correct to say, sir, that we've also discussed before, all these 6 cases are now submitted for resolution. Meaning na lahat ng ebidensya from both camps, both the respondents and the complainant, that being the NBI, have submitted all their evidence, and what's left to do is for the prosecutors to assess the evidence on hand and determine if sufficient na ba to file the case in court.
And how long do you expect that assessment process to carry on for? I mean, when can we expect a resolution on it?
Opo. So I cannot say for certain what date, no. What I can say is, as we've said before in the department, is that as soon as the complaint is lodged with the DOJ, we're working with a time frame. That time frame is 60 days, extendable by another 30 days. So we asked when was the case filed. Anim po yan eh. So we'll have to backtrack and determine when exactly they were filed and count 60 days from there. Because itong batch na cases na to involving Wawaw Construction or Top Notch, so there's 6, but they're all working within various and different timelines. They were not filed simultaneously. And that refers to the 3 cases involving Senator Joel Villanueva too. Hindi po sila sabay-sabay final. They were filed at different dates. So you count 60 days from that time.
Hindi naman session days yan, no?
Which definition of session days are we talking about?
Estrada, kasi kasama siya dun sa mga recommendations sa draft report na leak na hindi naman dinideny ni Ping Lacson.
Well, currently po, we know that Senator Jinggoy Estrada has a pending case with the DOJ, the charge being for plunder. That's the main charge. Again, these cases don't involve just one charge. It's a number of charges, but then you could say that there's one main charge that people may be interested in, or the biggest charge, no? And that's plunder in this case. So that's the case he is currently facing. He's currently in, rather. The preliminary investigation has begun. In fact, the first setting was last February 2. Ang susunod po na setting for his case is February 12. At which point, he will have to file his counter affidavit because the first setting on Feb 2 was specifically for the receipt of the complaint and the evidence against him and all the other respondents.
Linawin lang namin, kapag nagkaroon ng court arrest warrant, kahit in session ng Senate, they can be arrested because that's not related to their job, no?
Opo, well, the constitutional provision says that they have parliamentary immunity. So far as, well, it's specific, kailangan ang kaso po dapat dyan, the crime cannot exceed, the penalty for which cannot exceed 6 years. So, may threshold, ano po yan, no?
Yung immunity nila.
Opo. So that's
So kung ganyan, that's plunder, pwede silang arrestuhin.
Opo, necessarily, well, based on the provision of the law.
Okay. So your point being that even though we don't see it, all of these cases are moving along.
Yes, that's correct. And of course, again, I like to reiterate na iba-iba yung timeline for these cases. They were not all filed simultaneously. Each case has its own pending incidents. What I mean by that is necessarily because iba-iba ang respondents per case, may kanya-kanyang motion mga fina-file yung mga yan. Some may have filed for extension, or otherwise, it's hard to say because there are just a number of cases, and the number of motions that they could be filing with respect to the particular case that they're involved in. It's really a lot. Kaya, but that's correct to say that they're all moving.
Okay, Attorney, can I just come back to Jonathan So and Carlito Macadangdang? You said Jonathan So was already a respondent, but you didn't mention which particular flood control project this was for. Was this related to the ones that were earlier filed in Oriental Mindoro or different?
No, these are all in Bulacan.
Oh, Bulacan.
First District.
Which first district then?
Yes, dun pa rin.
Okay, so this is a new set of cases then?
This is, I wouldn't say new because these were filed, again, the fact that it's now been submitted for resolution means that the evidence have all been submitted by both camps, by both respondents, and by the complainant. So it was filed some time ago. I wouldn't say it's new.
Okay. Has the DOJ gotten a hold of the report from AMLAC, which apparently traced this very unusual surge of their bank accounts and the income related to their income? Because apparently these guys got famous for being, for some of their small businesses like Show My King and House of Franchise and so on and so forth. So people are now questioning how they became billionaires, right? And AMLAC had traced their money trail and found that there were unusual surges starting from 2023, if I'm not mistaken. Have you gotten a hold of that report?
So we have not. The DOJ currently is not privy to the investigation being conducted by AMLAC with respect to these accounts. Now, ordinarily, the AMLAC only files a petition for freeze order with the Court of Appeals to the OSG as the counsel for the state. And this is only done normally when a complaint has already been lodged with the DOJ with respect to a particular individual. In this case, however, I think we would like to clarify, the DOJ would like to clarify that the AMLAC investigated and filed these petitions for freeze order on its own volition, in its own capacity.
Separate from
separate from us. That's correct. Separate from the DOJ. So we're not privy to what exactly they found or what grounds they invoked in their finding of probable cause to file these petitions with the Court of Appeals.
Actually, I think the Court of Appeals has granted that freeze order for all of their many bank accounts related to these two individuals. Okay. Ed?
Are good?
Okay, we're gonna let you go because understand you also have a meeting at 5 o'clock. So, but thanks so much for talking to us today, Attorney Polo Martinez, spokesperson for
Thank
the
you.
DOJ. We'll have you back on another time when you're free.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
attorney.
Thank you. Thank you po.